Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, a 15 plus Reckless Amoeba podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Balinger
Hello.
and Ryan Stokely.
What's up?
So, guys, do you play Pokemon Go?
I picked it back up back in December, and it's kind of just stuck with me so far. For like the third time of me trying to get back into it, it's stuck for once.
Yeah,
So I have been, yes.
Do you ever get mad at other trainers?
No?
So mad that you would resort to violence against them.
No?
This was a 55-year-old man who attacked a 56-year-old trainer.
what the fuck?
I'm sorry, what? Please repeat that. What?
A 55-year-old user of Pokemon Go attacked a 56-year-old user of Pokemon Go because I think this article said they were defending a gym or something.
That's not how that works,
Wow.
though. The only thing I can think of that would work in the game like that would be like... The only thing that would work in the game like that would be like if the guy was literally sitting there feeding berries to the Pokemon to constantly heal them. Like, he can't actively do anything outside of something like that. Otherwise, you just shove the Pokemon in there and they just last as long as they last.
On August 10th, Hokkaido Prefecture Police arrested Kento Sato on suspicion of assaulting 55-year-old acquaintance who was seated inside his compact car. Sato is accused of grabbing the man by the chest through the window of his car and damaging his side view mirror by kicking it. The dispute was said to be of the smartphone game Pokemon Go. Both men were fighting for control of the same gym with their respective collections of magical monsters when things got heated between the 56-year-old Sato and his 55-year-old victim.
Well, and I'd have to question, how the hell do you know who's who? Like, how do you know he's the guy that was doing it? Like, unless they knew each other or something. Like, how do you know that's the guy if he's some random stranger? The other thing I could think of that they may or may not have been doing would be like, say one person conquers the gym, slaps their Pokemon in there, and then the other guy comes in immediately, kills off that guy's Pokemon, and then slaps his in there, and it just keeps repeating from there. That's the only other thing I could think of that would work that way, but still, that seems really fucking dumb.
That's why I told the story.
Like, no matter which way it goes, it's stupid. Because, I mean, what's the point of holding the gym? The only thing you get out of it is if your Pokemon is in there long enough, you can get a maximum of 50 Pokecoins, which is, the actual currency in the game, per day. So, to me, there's no fucking point to that. Especially in a place that's like Tokyo, where there's gyms fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a city, there's gyms literally everywhere.
I remember when the game, I played it for maybe 2 or 3 months when it came out, and that was it. But I remember going to Lake Nakamixon at 2 or 3 in the morning, taking the marina, and then literally, as we got back in the car and fucking drove halfway down the road, somebody took it back. We didn't see anybody there.
Nah.
We were like, what the hell? We didn't
I was gonna say,
was
there any employees there at all?
I don't think so. It was 3 in the morning. The only thing that was open was the marina.
I was gonna say, or a security guard or something that might be around that area.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
It's just like, I've got, nothing's happening. I'll just play Pokemon Go. Oh, got the gym back. Because what is it? The one restaurant out by where I work, I can hit that on my way into work or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's a restaurant. Clearly, people work there, and there's probably at least one that plays the game that's going to be like, I'm just going to keep this gym forever. Now, again, the point of keeping it forever is non-existent because you can only get 50 Poke Coins a day. Like, come on, and it costs like 100, I think, to get like 20 Pokeballs. It's like, what's the point of just holding on to a gym permanently? You want that shit to come back eventually, so that way you get your money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you were saying, how does he know? Like,
that's the other question. How do you know that's the guy?
And I don't play Pokemon Go, but is there any indication to know when a trainer is nearby?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Not sure.
As far as I'm aware, there's no way to know if there's a trainer nearby. Now, I've seen that there are ways to tell when a gym is under attack, although I haven't seen that lately, so it could just be that I've just not seen anyone doing it. But there used to be, like, you'd see, like, little mini explosions above the gym and, like, lightning or fire getting thrown around at the top of the gym if there was someone battling in there. Now, like I said, I haven't seen that in a long time, so either I'm just missing everyone, which is completely possible given my schedule, or that was taken out for some reason. That used to be a thing. That would be it. It wouldn't tell you who it was or why or what team. It wouldn't give you shit as far as information on the people or person doing it.
And Go Japan isn't like Go where it's like 2 or 3 years or like versions ahead.
As far as I'm aware, it's simultaneous.
So I don't know how the two men met and resorted to violence. So
yeah, it's very strange. Like unless they knew each other for whatever reason, and they were like some kind of stupid ass Ash and Gary rival bullshit going on that just went way too far. I don't understand how they would know who was who. Like, again, unless, and here's the other caveat, unless one of them saw the other doing shit. Like on the phone. Unless they actively saw the phone app open.
Yeah.
But you said he was in the car, so I have no idea whether or not, like, the guy was just, like, peeking in cars trying to see, like, are you playing the game? Is it you? Fuck you, guy. Is that you? You doing it?
But just the fact that he's 56 attacking a 55-year-old guy, that's just dumb.
I mean, he would have had to have gotten into Pokemon in his 30s then, because Pokemon's what, like 20 years old?
20.
Yeah, like 20, 21 years old.
Yeah, I think it just hit 1998.
So yeah, 2022?
One more note from my side. Voice actor
96.
Hiko Seki, who we mentioned last time, who voiced Senketsu on Kill la Kill, has been released from the hospital. So he is doing better from COVID-19.
Good to hear.
All right, here's a fun one then. If you're done, Brandon, I'd like to take over. Okay. Oh, all right. I'm curious. You probably know about this because you're into the gaming sphere. Did you hear about Apple and Epic? God, my brain is not working this morning.
I forget. Are they like merging or something?
No, exactly the opposite.
Oh.
They're having a who's a douchier company fucking war.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. So this all started with Epic, as far as I'm aware, breaking their contract with Apple by directly selling their currency to Apple users instead of like having them go through the Apple store like you would for anything else. Now, as far as I'm aware, that's the contract. You have to do that while your app is on there. If there's any purchases, they have to go through the Apple store, and Apple gets a cut of like 30% of your revenue of whatever that cost would be.
Yeah.
Now, Epic broke that. Apple caught on real quick, and then because this seems like it was super well like planned in advance, Epic released a commercial that parodied and trashed Apple over Fortnite. Like with Fortnite. Now it gets better. Apple has now banned Fortnite for this, and now Epic is trying to take them to court and calling on their fans with the hashtag #FreeFortnite.
Wait, so they banned it from playing it on your phone?
Yes,
Like
you
that?
can no longer. They banned it from.
Wow.
Yep, they banned it off of the Apple Store, and you can no longer play it. As far
Dude.
as I'm aware, they completely shut it down. I don't think you can still play it if you already had it downloaded. I think it's just not available anymore.
I lost respect to Epic when they stopped making the new Quake game or Unreal game and decided to go like make more shit for Fortnite.
Oh, I'm not done. There's more. So Apple is already in, and Google actually too, in this, is in like an antitrust lawsuit with the government, as far as I'm aware at this point, because of the fact that like they technically have a monopoly on their like with their app stores.
Yeah.
You can't get anything that's not within the app store. Like it like legally it is impossible. You have your options of cracking your phone and doing stuff that way, but legally, technically, you are not allowed to get it from anywhere else, and they always get a cut. So they have antitrust suits in place that are being looked into, and yeah, it's shitty. I completely agree that they should not be able to just hog a market like that. Now, you have Epic, who straight up broke their contract, that's now trying to sue to get it back. And here's the fun part. Apple has now taken it a step further because you've had Epic essentially mobilizing their fan base to attack Apple.
Yeah.
They've decided, well, fuck Unreal Engine altogether. No Unreal Engine game can now run on Apple. They kill it.
Wow.
Developer tools, everything is just shut out.
So does that
That's dumb.
mean, I think either Crash or Spyro is running on Unreal?
If they're on the phone, they can no longer be played.
Oh, so not on, like, PC?
No,
No,
it's fine everywhere else. It's just Apple and Google.
This affects me in no way.
Apple specifically.
Because I don't have any Apple products or anything.
Nope. They're literally like killing any Unreal Engine games that are in there because Epic owns that.
Well, honestly, that might be better for the other platforms, Android or PC even, like if there's a company that was making
we'll see, because they have the same issue going on with Google, so Google might do the same thing. Who knows?
Oh, wow.
Like, the same issue is going on there, because they bypassed Google's App Store.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so the Unreal Engine thing isn't for computers, it's just for phones. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
so, like, probably your Call of Duty games that are running on there are not going to run anymore.
Yeah, I honestly don't.
Or something else.
I don't enjoy mobile games at all anymore. So that's all right with me.
I enjoy. Like, I enjoy Fate Go. We've talked about that. Fate Grand Order is fun, but that's a lot of it from like the story perspective and the characters. Pokemon Go has been interesting, probably because I've actually got like some friends on here now where I didn't before, and they've actually added in like trading and battling and shit directly.
Oh, cool.
Not just gym pseudo battles.
Yeah.
And then I've been playing a lot of what is it? Legends of Runeterra too. It's been my card game of choice now for a while. So
nice.
That's been the other one. I know there's a new expansion for that coming out soon, but I'm super curious what that's going to be like. I've seen some of the leaked cards, but it looks like it's going to be interesting when that drops in like a week.
Yeah, I haven't played that. That's Runeterra's like League of Legends, or am I?
Yeah. It's Riot's version of Hearthstone, basically.
Okay.
But you actually get to respond to shit rather than just waiting for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those have been like the three main apps. I used to play Duel Links for a while, the Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Yeah.
That ended up getting real trashy. Like
was it pay to win?
It's about as pay to win as any card game is, outside of Runeterra, because Runeterra is just like, here, have all the cards if you put the time in.
Oh, okay.
Duel Links is like, there's no fucking way with how quickly they release shit that you're going to be able to keep up as a free-to-play player. Mm-hmm. I probably invested way more money than I should have in that. Now, granted, while I was doing it, it wasn't as fucking toxic as far as the game was concerned at that point. There weren't like you die the first turn before the first turn is over.
Jesus.
Like there were by the time I was tired of it. I was like, oh, this is good. They're keeping it somewhat balanced. You know, it's nice.
Yeah.
There's some good back and forth here, and then they start releasing some of the bigger, more popular cards from back in the day. Like I'm more than willing to admit, like I was a big Lightsworn person. Like I love Lightsworn as like one of their archetypes, which is like cool. At the end of the turn, most if not all of them involve like throwing the top some number of cards from your deck.
Yeah, that's when they added those mill type cards. I don't think I played during that time.
Yeah, but then you have like Judgment Dragon, which is their boss monster, which is like, hey, if there's 4 or more with different names in the graveyard, I can just be put on the field without any kind of second thought. And then you can just pay 1,000 life points to blow up every other card on the field but me.
Wow.
So granted, I'm guilty of playing that because I enjoyed that deck. It was fun when I was playing the real life card game.
Yeah.
But like they started coming out with some stuff after that, and it just got worse. And I just got so sick of it. It's like I get maybe a turn, and then by the opponent's second turn, I'm dead. It's over. There's no fun. I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, you're basically just sitting, waiting to get into a game. Oh, cool! I get an opponent, and then
I've lost by the third turn. Great.
All right, time to look for another
yeah,
game.
pretty much.
Ryan, do you remember that physical deck I built in Magic that was like in loop? Deck?
Oh yeah, dude. If I didn't beat you by the time like you got it off, it was I had like 3 or 4 turns to like do something.
Yeah, because I forget what exactly it was, but it was like tap this card, brings a.
Was that the Eldrazi deck?
No. But it was like, tap this card, bring a creature into play, and then whenever a creature is tapped, you can untap up to 1 creature per turn. Oh no, it's like when a certain subtype comes in, untap a card, so I would untap it, tap it again, bring another creature in, untap it, reverse, repeat instantly.
Yeah.
And I would get like 13, 14, 15, as many as I want, and I'm like, okay, here's 25 2/2s. Have fun.
So, you mentioned that. I had something similar happen to me the other day. So they have like a special game mode that you can sometimes get into in Runeterra. It's called Labs, and they like fuck with the rules. So the current one is one that basically puts all of your cards at a cost of either 0, 1, 2, or 3 mana. Now, you also start the game with 3 spell mana that will work specifically for spells, and 3 regular mana, which you can use for anything. Now, I ended up getting into an infinite loop. At least, infinite in terms of like I could keep doing it so long as I had time limit. My time limit didn't run out.
Yeah.
So one of the cards I had played was Cloudburster, which put your burst spells down by 1 mana. So my already 1 mana burst spell was now 0. I had into the setup where I kept playing this burst spell that would constantly give +2 attack to a minion. Mm-hmm. And because it's a burst spell, the opponent cannot interrupt you. You just can keep playing it. And now that spell would create another version of itself once it had been played. So I could just keep infinitely playing this thing. And on top of that, I had a card that also put the top minion of my deck. It gave it an extra +1 attack and health every time a spell was cast.
Damn.
So unfortunately, I did not win that because the opponent killed me before I could do anything. Mm-hmm. But I got to at least see what the fuck I had turned this minion into. So I was very upset because I'm like, I know you can kill me. Can you at least let me show you what the fuck I have? Just to give you an idea of like how stupid this got. I had turned a 2/3 minion into a 52/53 minion.
What?
And only because I had a time limit that kept me from doing it essentially infinitely.
Yeah. And you have what, 20 health?
You start
30
with
health?
20. Yeah, you have 20 health in this one. There was another one where you had it boosted to like 30, but this one was 20.
Damn.
Infinite loops are so much fun.
Like, it's a complete fucking accident that it happened, but I'm like, this is the best. I couldn't stop laughing.
That's
Like, I'm just gonna
awesome,
keep going. I don't know where this is gonna end, but I gotta keep going and see. I'm just sad that the opponent didn't want to see what the fuck like what the minion was and how strong it had gotten. Like, just for the lull of it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, you didn't even at least want to see what I got here? Like, it's so dumb. Oh god, it was
wow.
great though. I couldn't. The maniacal laughter was real that day.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
So yeah, we should probably get to the. All right, you got something?
Yeah. Oh, real quick. I started watching, did I mention this last week? I started watching Gravity Falls.
No, you did not.
Okay, yeah. I'm on like episode 3 or 4. I think I'm on episode 4 now. Pretty much just watching an episode before I fall asleep a day. This past couple days or whatever. Pretty good. One thing I don't understand is why the uncle is like 90 years old and he's like not a great uncle. Like they could I don't know.
I thought that's why they called him Grunkle. I thought it was Great Uncle Stan.
Oh, okay. Then that makes sense. I was wondering why they called him Grunkle. It made me laugh. Because I'm like, what the hell are they talking about?
I mean, technically, they call him that. I thought it was Great Uncle, but like you do find out that it's like a later born sibling that is the twins' parents. So
okay.
I think the kid was born. I think their parent was born like when Stan, if I remember correctly, when Stan was like going off to college or something. So like, you know, the guy's like 18 years older than his sibling.
That makes sense, I guess.
So yeah, it could just be an age thing too in that regard. Because I don't think they're actually like a great uncle. Could just be a grunkle because it's grumpy uncle. That could be the other one.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just more curious to find out what's behind the refrigerator. I was hoping they would like show more of that.
Oh, you'll find out by the end of season 1.
Okay, because like I was gonna go back and listen to our episode, but I decided not to.
Oh, dude!
So many spoilers there. Don't,
dude. If you're gonna stick with this, don't.
Okay.
Because like,
Oh, also, man. They kind of like do they like pick the name like because of Twin Peaks or something? I don't know. It kind of just says like a Twin Peak.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Okay.
I never thought of it.
All right.
I think Alex Hirsch was inspired slightly by Twin Peaks, but I think that.
All right. Well, yeah, that's my update thing.
Okay. Spent a little bit longer than usual.
Yeah.
Doing this
almost half an hour.
It's true. It's been a minute though, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. Sometimes there's nothing going on, and sometimes there's a shit ton going on.
Yeah. There's more stuff, but we talked a lot before we started this episode, so.
Also true.
Yeah. Good thing for timestamps.
Yes.
Okay.
Hope they enjoyed the pre-show.
Yes. Today's anime, Excel Saga.
Excel Saga?
Yes. Its full title, although it's not really known by the full title, much like Gurren Lagann's full title was Tekatapa Gurren Lagann, but everybody calls it Gurren Lagann. The full title is Quack Experimental Anime Excel Saga.
Alright. That just threw me for a loop.
I mean, I would like to put my 2 cents in and say I don't think it succeeded, but hey, that's me.
So it's like it's got to be like just self-aware, kind of, right? Is that like the joke of the title of the name?
I mean, that's not.
Like
that is somewhat accurate, but it is not involved with the name. I don't think, or if it is, it's like only a part. Like that's not the main shtick.
Okay. Does it follow It's an anime about people making animes.
Nope.
No. Excel Saga. It's gotta be like programmers using Excel sheet. Computer people using Excel sheet.
It's the fucking cell in the Excel document having an adventure.
Yeah. It's just the Clippy.
Oh god, not Clippy. And that
Hey,
no wonder it
no.
would fail. Clippy was hated.
Yeah, so damn.
Everybody hated Clippy.
Oh,
Damn.
it seems that your father was killed. Do you want revenge?
Wait, so somebody's father dies?
No, that's just Clippy asking the question.
I don't know what damn. Honestly, that's all what I was thinking of. I don't know what is it about actually.
Oh, well, it was actually based on a manga. Granted, the manga was not that far along when the anime started, so it didn't have much to build off of. And I had, I think, 4 or 5 volumes of the manga, and let's just say this anime deviates heavily from the manga because each episode is parodying a different style of anime.
Wait. Like art wise or
More genre wise.
genre wise? Okay.
So you have a romantic comedy episode, a horror episode, a sci-fi episode, a Fist of the North Star episode.
Okay.
Except for one character, each episode is pretty much standalone.
So you can watch them out of order then?
Except for the one character whose scenes flow between episodes.
Oh, okay. What's their significance to the series then?
He is an immigrant worker who died and is trying to get back to his sexy wife and son.
Damn, dude.
And I believe his wife wasn't given a name and is known as Sexy Wife.
Very nice. My wife.
So, this is really bizarre in the amount of changes that happen per episode because like the consistency is one of the only things that I didn't really like because you go from wait, what was it? It was sports to romance within one episode, and I'm just like, okay. Although it has like the overarch of comedy with the same characters, it just feels that it's a little bit too inconsistent.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of my problem with it. Like, it tries to be non-episodic, and yet it is episodic at the same time, and it doesn't work. Like, let's just take out our immigrant worker Pedro. Let's just take him out of the equation for a second, because he will literally be the reason that you would have to follow shit. Because otherwise, you would have his story would be all over the place. Ignoring him, there's like nothing to link any of the episodes. You could almost watch them in any fucking order at all. Now there are ones that achieve this to a better degree. Cough, cough, Cowboy Bebop. Like there's only 1 or 2 episodes I think in Bebop that you would actually have to watch within a chronological order.
I know Junior Jazz was a 2-parter and Real Folk Blues was a 2-parter. So, and they were I think 12 and 13 and 25, 26.
In this case, it's like I could just tune in and watch whatever the fuck episode it is because none of this is ever going to carry over. Yeah, outside of Pedro and outside of like the episode where Hyatt gets introduced, none of it matters until the last like 4 episodes.
Except for an occasional joke like, oh, I got away from that shark from the last episode.
Yeah, it's like a one-off joke that even if you would watch it, it wouldn't matter. Like, oh, I got away from that shark last episode. Oh, there was a shark last episode. Cool, I guess.
There was an avalanche, and I managed to survive.
Like, it just doesn't work, I feel. And a lot of that kind of leads into where I was at with this thing by the end, where it's just like, outside of the last 4 episodes, it's all just a fucking hazy blur. Like, nothing stuck with me. Outside of just, I watched the dub, because I couldn't find the sub anywhere. Outside of fucking Excel, our main character, being extremely obnoxious and shouty. And ear-gratingly shouty.
Japanese dub, which I listened to once, I remember her being pretty much shouty in the Japanese dub too.
Yes, but I would be curious if she was as ear-grating as this one. Because it's like we have that 90s raspy-ass girl voice going on. Like, I feel like that's a trope. Like, if there's a loud female character, they have a Grady-ass, like, smoker's lung voice going on. Like, take Misty from Pokemon. Like, that's a perfect example of, like, a 90s raspy-voiced girl character.
Yeah.
And just have that as your main character that's constantly shouting at a near, I don't know, 15 minutes out of, like, the 23-minute video. Or episode, I should say, not video.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it gets real old real fast.
And one interesting part, Excel has 2 English voice actors, because halfway through the series, Jessica strained her vocal cords to the point she would have permanent damage if she would continue. So in episode 14, a new person takes over.
I will say this.
Oh, wow.
The first couple, like, episode or 2 with that new voice actress got kind of jarring because it was just such a weird, like, shift. But I think by the 3rd one, she kind of, like, falls into where the role is and what the character's voice should sound like. And granted, I think she does a better job. No offense to Jessica. If Jessica was going for, like, the ear-grating, nails on a chalkboard level of annoying voice, she definitely hit it. And the second voice actress that stepped in did not do as good of a job in that regard. But I would prefer to not have my ears bleed every time I watch an episode. Thank you.
And just scanning what she did recently, she was in Pop Team Epic episode 10A.
Huh.
And if you remember, Pop Team Epic changes the voice cast every single episode. She was in one episode as Shamimi. And one thing that I don't think you enjoyed as much as I did, Brandon, and we're both not into 80s and 90s anime as much as current anime, but Excel Saga has so many parodies within their episode.
It's true. There's a lot of like, a lot of it comes down to, you're not going to know this reference, so fuck you. Like, the fact that because this thing is referencing something you don't know, it makes it highly dated. Like, until the Fist of the North Star episode, I completely missed almost every single fucking reference that would have been in there. And that's like episode, what, 17 or something like that?
23.
Yeah, there you go.
And wasn't Nabashine's car Speed Racer's car?
The steering wheel was definitely reminiscent of Speed Racer, though I don't think I ever saw a Speed Racer quite literally turn into an airplane. He did have, like, glider wings that kind of shot out from underneath the doors, but the car itself never actually, like, full-on transformed like that.
Okay.
So, maybe a little bit of Speed Racer, but not enough. I feel like that was something more close to, like, 007 kind of shit.
Okay. Because within the 26 episodes, I found references to Cowboy Bebop, Lupin the Third, I know I mentioned one. Oh, Leiji Masamoto, I think his name is. Like his works, Gundam.
There was a very heavy-handed reference to Gundam and Sailor Moon in there. Like, I'm honestly surprised we didn't fucking get like a Pokemon reference, honestly, because that would have been around the time that would have been like big.
I think Pokemon was too new at the time. It may have only been out for a year since this was late 99, early 2000.
Like,
Although, as Excel was cleaning out, I think it was Matsu. Did you see one of the Powerpuff Girls fly out?
nope, missed that.
I had to rewind it and like, was that a Powerpuff Girl? Yes, it was.
Like, we also have that point with Ropin Matsu. Like, what the fuck is with her? Like, why? God, we fucking have. So we have Ropin Matsu original and Ropin Matsu 2. And Ropin Matsu 2 is a younger girl who, of course, has a raspy ass fucking female voice again. Like, what is with this?
Although I didn't get to their appearance.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of Sentai references too. I forgot to mention that.
Yes. Although I didn't get to their reference in the manga, I was reading about what they're like when they do appear. They're actually the same character, but with two different bodies for different purposes.
Well, and I had to ask the question too, because I was very curious about this from a design perspective. What the fuck is the tail that's coming out of the second one's head?
I don't know.
Like, at first I thought it was like, oh, is that something she just plugs into like a USB port or something? Nope, it has no functional purpose whatsoever. It's just a random ass fucking tail cable thing that's coming out of her head.
Yeah.
Also, we should mention that, you know, the creator of Ropin Matsu seems to be very much a pedophile. Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's something that, while it's not directly stated, it is heavily implied. Because there's a point where he first shows. Well, I was gonna say the episode where he first shows up, where he's just like apparently watching invisible children play at a park, and making like his boss shut up so he can watch. Still, I'm like, there's some like collar pulling. Like, I don't know about this man kind of shit going on here.
Since the manga lasted for 15 years and the anime was only one 26-episode season, there's a lot more character development. I think the deal with him, if I'm remembering what I read correctly, that he had a younger sister who was more like, oh, Oni-chan, you're the best, when younger, and when she hit teenage years and college years, she basically ignored him, and he wants that whole appreciation from young girls, and that's why he's like that, but
that doesn't exactly make it seem any better, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, the anime changes things. There was a naming convention between some of our main characters.
I wouldn't have noticed.
Everybody in Across is named after hotels.
Like Hotel
Excel,
James?
Hyatt, and Il Palazzo.
Wow.
But what about that guy?
That man.
I'm sorry, that man.
No. Who is like some shady Yakuza?
Who's also a ghost?
Maybe?
And can see ghosts? Because he shows up and talks to Pedro. And Pedro was very much dead at that point.
Yeah. And kind of spoiler here, how did you feel that the macrocosm and Pedro's sexy wife were the same thing?
Well, I'll give it this. It was a turn I wasn't expecting to see, but it makes me question a lot of shit. Like, it makes me question a lot of, like, what the fuck, how, why? Like, does she have these powers all the time? What's going on with this? Like, why are they two separate entities to begin with?
And
Like, there are more questions than there are answers.
and from what I understand, except for a slight joke in the beginning, Pedro never really appears in the manga, so everything related with him is all gone.
Well, yeah, because Pedro died.
Yeah, but he doesn't appear in the manga except for like one scene.
I assume that was because it was the scene where he dies.
Right.
That's it. Like,
I'll need to reread the first 4 volumes. Man, I wish I could find this online somewhere so I would be able to read the whole thing.
oh shit, I forgot to mention this because I didn't. So this is somewhat relevant. So and it's short, so I'll just throw this in here. Kiss Anime no longer exists.
Oh, really?
It got exploded.
Damn.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. But yeah, they got exploded. They're gone. No longer exists. Someone else will end up stepping in to take that place, I guess.
Wait, did they also have a manga branch?
Maybe, but that's probably gone too, if I had to guess.
Damn. And that's the one bad part about, hey, we're going to expunge this illegal anime site.
Mhm.
Stuff on there that are like rare.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, right? Like, God, we're gonna get into this now, aren't we? But like, there's countries where they outright cannot purchase the actual thing. Like, there's like, fuck it, we're in America, so for us, it's like we get everything or just about everything. You go to like Canada, and they couldn't get Game of Thrones for a while. Like, HBO did not want them to see the shit. They want to go and watch something on Netflix, and it's like, oh, Canadian Netflix won't let me watch this. Why? There was a 20-year fucking drought where you outright could not watch fucking Neon Genesis Evangelion until it popped up on Netflix a couple years ago. Like, you had to go,
Damn.
like, unless you wanted to like go and pay for a $400 like DVD set or a VHS set.
Yeah.
And don't even talk about End of Ava, which is probably even more expensive to get that VHS. And even then, that's not official anymore. That's secondary market. They're not getting that money anyway. There's no fucking way to get it. What other option do you give me?
I wish that Excel Saga would have gotten a second season down the line because there is a character that appears in the manga, the third agent of Across Elgala, and
Oh, we got a third agent in episode 26.
right, but this is the official third agent, and she has the ability of having no eternal monologue.
Internal or eternal?
Internal monologue.
Okay. I was gonna say, Excel doesn't Excel technically have that? Because she barely thinks herself. She just shouts whatever's on her mind. Like, there's a couple of scenes I can remember where she actually does some thinking, but the vast majority is just her shouting her thoughts.
Yes. We've talked about Excel. Let's talk about Hyatt.
Oh, you mean the, like, perpetually dead person?
Who may or may not be an alien?
I was gonna go with a zombie alien, but okay.
She dies very bloodily at least once an episode.
Oh my god, they
Oh
killed
my
Kenny!
God.
You bastards!
She'll be like talking mid-sentence, pass over in a pool of blood, stand up like 3 seconds later and continue talking. I'm not sure what her deal is.
Like, there's literally a scene where she gets taken to a hospital, the doctors proclaim her dead, and Excel comes in to, like, try and find her, and they're like, we're sorry, we couldn't save her, she died. And then she just gets up, and, like, the nurse and doctor are freaking the fuck out because she, like, got up after all signs of life were gone.
Oh, the Doctor is a parody of Blackjack.
I have no idea who that is.
It's a medical anime.
Never seen it. Never
He's
heard of it.
I believe he's somewhat of a medical mercenary where you like hire him to take on extreme cases.
I was curious about the scars, and that would make sense if he's like a medical mercenary. But I've never seen the actual reference material that this is coming from.
And you find out in the manga he is Iwata's cousin.
Huh.
Although that didn't really get stated in the anime since he was more of 1-off, 2-off, 3-offs.
Yeah, he was just like a side thing. Iwata's also fun because he's in love with Hyatt, and yet Hyatt is, I think, completely oblivious to the fact that he's in love with her.
Watanabe.
Or sorry, Watanabe. And yet, like I said, I watched this. It's like a fucking blur. Yeah, Watanabe's kind of interesting in that the idea of just like he's in love with Hyatt. Hyatt seems completely oblivious to what that means in any way, shape, or form, and just thinks, "Oh, he's being nice." And then she dies, and then we have plenty of fucking Power Ranger gear going on.
Yes. A municipal task force Daizenzen or something.
I mean, like, fuck it. You may as well call it Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go with how many words you're putting in there. Like, it's ridiculous. And, like, not ridiculous in the funny way, ridiculous in the why way.
It's a parody of Sentai, and Sentai is usually 3 words.
Yeah, but I feel like that's like 5 or 6 words. Like, it's expeditiously long for no reason.
Well, we had to translate Sentai, and Sentai is task force, so
They couldn't have come up with a better translation?
I think Sentai can also be squadron.
That would have been a decent one. You could have shortened it there, but I mean, like, the rest of it, really?
Municipal Squadron Daitenzen.
Like, why did you have to call it Titenzen, though?
That's the name that they are in the anime.
Just call it Daitenzen.
Maybe.
That's it. Just call it Daitenzen. There's no reason to put the rest of it in there. It's enough to say that you have the fucking Power Ranger suits on, okay? You don't need to go as far as throwing the name in there. We get it. It's obvious enough what you're referencing.
And what about Menchi?
Oh, you mean the dog, like, cat? I don't even know what the fuck breed that is, but like the dog that eats either a backup food source, which probably should have been eaten on multiple occasions by this point, considering all the shit they go through, or B, is constantly singing a really obnoxious song as the ending theme to Excel Saga. Sure, we can talk about the dog.
What?
And how it has like 2 episodes where it's killing off an old man. Where there's like, all right, you know what? I hadn't thought of it before, but it's like, that shit is weird. Because we go from points where like, Menchi escapes, all right? And like, she's going on this adventure in her first like solo episode to find like an owner or like this old man that treated her really nicely before Excel found her and turned her into a food source for emergency situations. We run into dogs that go from at certain points on all fours like a regular dog to, oh, I'm gonna stand up and have thumbs and everything, humanoid dogs, with dog heads. Between like different shots, it changes. So what? What are they? Are they regular dogs? Is this in like their heads that they're standing up? Menchi never stands up like this.
No.
What the fuck? Is this a reference to like the long forgotten Road Rovers show that was on Cartoon Network back in the day? Like, what the fuck is going on?
And that's another thing. Like, getting back to this, if I would have an encyclopedic knowledge of 1990s anime, I'd be going, oh yeah, this is supposed to be this.
I feel like the plot is a reference to something, but I don't know what. Like, until it goes off the rails at the end of the episode.
No, not Homeward Bound.
It wouldn't be Homeward Bound. I was thinking like it's some anime like Kimba or something.
Yeah.
But like, there's points like that where it's like, you could have done something really cool here, but there's just so much that's off the wall and weird about it that it doesn't work. Like, if you could have stayed consistent in whether or not, like, the dog is a dog that can just, communicate among its own species, or if they have fucking, like, arms and legs and talk like normal people, or, like, not talk like normal people, but, like, have, like, a humanish body, it would definitely help and go a long way to, like, seeing some consistency in the episode.
Yeah.
Then she murders the old man, who I guess is then brought back by, like, the dogs, apparently, by rebuilding him a fucking, like, robo body.
Which I noticed. If you remember the scene of him on the giant circular operating table, that was a reference to the original 1971 Kamen Rider.
Wouldn't know that. Honestly, it could have been a reference to just about any like rebuild him better anime or movie. I could have said like, oh, that's a Mega Man reference right there.
Did you have any episodes that you liked more than others?
I'm actually trying to think if there was any ones that I like really explicitly enjoyed.
I like the sports anime with the bowling terrorists.
God, I'm trying to think if there's anyone.
They were like, no, bowling is an art form. It must be done in this way.
No, you know what? There was one.
If you dare to defy us, we will lock you up in bowling pins and have human bowling.
I think the one I liked the most was the one where they went to America. And they started bouncing around with different styles of animation. Or like different styles of art.
Didn't Excel have Mickey Mouse ears at one point?
Yes, there was an explicit Mickey Mouse reference, and I think to specifically the rubber hose version of Mickey Mouse.
Rubber hose?
Yes. That one I enjoyed just because you were going around to different styles, and you were being at least, you were being meta about it, so it made at least somewhat, some kind of sense.
Yeah.
That one was probably my favorite. Now, don't get me wrong, I also, now that I'm thinking about it, really enjoyed the Gundam one because it got ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, in the most hilarious and somewhat decent continuity kind of way. I mean, fucking Char was in there, come on.
But they were all poo chews, which was hilarious.
Yeah, they were all like little weird bear people.
Who?
Oh, shit. I think there was also a JoJo reference in there.
Where?
I forget which episode it was, but somebody picked up somebody else, and there was like a little purple star that appeared on like one of their, like close to their neck, but more on the shoulder. And I'm like, is that supposed to be the Joestar birthmark? Is that what that is? It's just on the front rather than the back?
Maybe?
That was my first thought. It's never referenced again. It only happens in one small scene, and I'm like, that has to be. It can't be. Like, because there's nothing else going on there. It's a reference to something.
Yeah, because JoJo, as a manga, was around for at least 10 years after that.
So it was around since, I think, like, I forget, we determined it at some point when we were going through it. It was like a year prior to Dragon Ball that it showed up.
87.
So yeah, it would have been around like 10 years or so.
Yeah, so that's reference.
So if part three was going on by that point, they would have totally had the tattoo, the birthmark ready. That would have been a thing. Which I think part 3 was going on by the end of the 90s. I think it started in like 95, I want to say.
Yeah. Because part 4 started in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I would say, since Excel Saga was one of the first anime I watched, I was having some nostalgia for it. I picked up on a few more things this time around, since I am a little bit more imbued with anime than I was 10, maybe 15 years ago when I first watched this. And if I was a bigger fan of 90s anime, I may have caught more references and maybe enjoyed it more. Not saying I didn't. Like, I still find the soundtrack to be very reminiscent to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
The,
because
the other no, go ahead, finish your thought.
the soundtrack also has a lot of variation to it. Like you have your dramatic theme, you have your space sci-fi theme, you have your perky theme. So,
Well, I mean, that's going to be the case whenever you have a series like this that literally will bounce around between every single genre imaginable.
but they do reuse some of the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. No, I was going to say one of the other things that bothered me about this one was just like how quickly they flash from one joke into the next. You get whiplash, it feels like, between how many jokes are just flying at you and how quick they are. It's like you barely get enough time to register that one was a joke
Mm-hmm.
to the point that you're being slapped in the face with another.
And although this may not be around anymore, because I'm not too sure if it's been re-released, but the ADV release of Excel Saga had a pop-up references that you could put on the screen. So telling you, oh, this is a reference to this references this. So I may
If you need to have essentially what is a booklet to tell you what the reference is to something else, I feel like there's a problem.
well, some of the references may be so obscure that people like me.
Well, yeah, and that would be a problem, wouldn't it? Because nobody's going to get the references, and if you don't get the references, the joke just falls on its face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one thing if it's like, oh, hey, here's a DVD extra. We threw this in here so that way as you watch, it just pops up there. But, like, if it's literally, here's a, like, essentially, here's a manga to tell you what the references are. Like, if you need the extra material to tell you that, it's a problem.
Well, for example, in the Gundam episode, it might say like RX 78 2, I think the main one was.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just like flash up for like 2 seconds as the Poochu RX 78 was flying by. It said, hey, that's what that is.
I still feel like when you need extraneous material like that, what's the point?
It was a
If you're
special
making
feature,
reference to thing,
so it
if
wasn't
you're making
mandatory.
reference, if you're making reference, my point is though, the joke, if you don't have that, falls on its face because the minute you don't know what the reference is, it's a failure.
I'm agreeing with you on that because, yeah, like, this is 20 years old at this point, so not all of the jokes may be relevant. Like, granted, Bobo, that may not be as funny in 15, 10 years.
I don't even think Bobobo like Bobo's comedy isn't based on the fact that it's referencing shit. It's the ludicrous way in which it is referenced, and you don't need the like. I remember watching Bobobo when it was airing over here, right? I didn't get any of the references, but it was hilarious because of how ludicrous the characters in the world were. Like in this one, the world isn't ludicrous at all. Some of the characters are, and barring Pedro, whose whole situation is insane,
Yes.
the world still works normally. Like fucking, assuming you didn't have your fucking go-go ranger bullshit in the social the squadron or whatever over there, it'd just be a normal desk job. Like it'd be a normal day for the like people's lives.
Granted, they fight off aliens in the sewers that reference the movie Aliens. There's like a bunch of stuff that they do that really isn't what civil servants do.
Yeah, and that part is funny. You don't need the reference though to make it funny. That's the problem with most of it though, is that a lot of the jokes rely heavily on you knowing the reference for it to be funny.
And that's one of the things that I was afraid of going into this. That would I really enjoy it, and would it be worth rewatching if I don't understand all the references? I would say maybe.
I gotta go with no. Now, granted, you have nostalgia on your side for this, so that's probably helping you. I gotta go with no. I gotta go with this is not worth watching if you don't have a deep, really solid understanding of 80s and 90s anime. Because everything is, or almost nearly everything, is gonna go over your head. Plus, the fact that there's almost no plot until the last 4 episodes really hurts it. Because you're relying on those jokes heavily for the entirety of the rest of the series to carry it.
I'm not too sure how much of a thing this was in the 90s, but I do know that in Japan they do have comedy events, I want to say, where a bunch of comedians come together and have like a who's the best comedian with being judged like episode 13 was. And like that was that parody of comedic events, because I know, since I'm slightly a fan of Gake no Tsukai, I know Downtown was on one of those events and had to do something really funny there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was 20 years ago that was a thing. So I was a little bit surprised to, now that I know what the reference was, I was surprised that was a thing 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And briefly going over Pedro, where you find out that he's just incredibly unlucky.
I'm gonna be honest. Pedro's literally the only reason you want to watch this anime. Like,
Yeah.
for the fact that like he only shows up for maybe 3 minutes per episode, but they're an amazing 3 minutes of just how like shit his luck is and how it slowly turns around by the end.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, probably the most obvious reference of all, like, throughout this one is the DBZ reference that Pedro gets.
Nabehameha.
Not even that! The fucking afro is your Super Saiyan hair.
Yes. Oh, and speaking about afros, Nabashin, who is this random guy that pops up, helps everybody out in wacky situations. He is voiced by the director as more of a parody homage to himself.
It's weird, too, because he starts out as, like, an action hero, and then he disappears for a while, and then suddenly comes back as a meta character. Like, it's really weird.
And something that I was slightly disappointed at, I knew, even watching this years back, that I think his name is like Shinshi Watanabe. Flip down to get Nabashin. He voices himself, but the creator of Excel Saga appears in the beginning of each episode to give his permission to turn Excel Saga into a space drama, into a sports anime.
Into different genres.
Is he lived too far away from the recording studio to voice his own character. He wanted to, but it would be too much of a hassle, and I found that disappointing.
I'm surprised that he wouldn't just have to show up for one day. Like, unless they were recording this by the episode rather than by, like, oh, here's all the lines that you're ever going to have to read in this series and some extra ones in case you want to change some shit up. Have fun. Like, just have a day.
Have a day.
Even if it was split up into smaller chunks, like, okay, we've written up through episode 7, here you go, come back in a month and we'll give you a few more lines.
Or, you know, the other option would be like, hey, you can't be down here to record every time. We'll have you pick out the voice actor that's going to play you. Like,
maybe that's...
There you go. That would probably be the best way to do it if there was legitimately no way for him to do it himself. Like, if it was too much of a hassle. I would totally have said, hey, you can't play yourself, but you can pick who plays you. I feel like that would have been more than fair.
Right. So, all in all, maybe nostalgia is on my side, but I would give this a solid B, maybe a B minus. If I would know every single reference, I would definitely give this higher.
Oh yeah, like I said, unless you really know your 90s and 80s anime, that this is going to be your shit if you know that stuff. I don't know all that many obscure and shitty like 80s and 90s anime. I know the big stuff. I don't know any of the like small and obscure stuff that apparently went into this. And the bigger stuff really doesn't play much of a role in this, honestly.
Yeah. Although, when Excel used the Fist of the North Star technique on the one goon, what he transformed into looked somewhat familiar.
I couldn't place it. I'm like, oh, it's some magical girl bullshit. That's about all as far as I went with the understanding what the fuck that was.
Yeah, so I would say if you're a fan of 80s, 90s anime, watch it. If you can find the ADV DVD release of it, get it if you want to know all the references. But other than that, I would say no. So what's your grade for this, Brandon?
I'm gonna go with a don't, please. Like I said, like the entirety other than the last 4 episodes and like the one or two that I actually enjoyed is a blur. So like 6 out of what 26 episodes is a blur.
Mm-hmm.
Also, let's point out that episode 26 is like a bonus episode, and you get your boobies in there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was actually made 2 minutes too long to air on Japanese TV, and it was made extremely violent, over sexualized, so over the top because it was meant to be a bonus episode.
It was totally done on purpose, so that way they could shove it in as an extra and make it happen. It's like we can't put it on TV, but we could put it as an extra and do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah. I would say, from what I remember, and one more thing about the manga. I also do know that Kabapu and Il Palazzo does have some history together in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. So I would say maybe watching it on you probably wouldn't enjoy it, but
Yeah.
since you
Oh,
know next to nothing about modern anime,
yeah. Yeah, I have to, I have to ease myself into it.
yeah. Uh, since I can't think up a good reference for the lead-in for next time, take it away, Brandon.
Everything changed when we discovered the boy in the iceberg. Done.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit heavy-handed, but
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Yep. So, until next time, later.
Bye bye.
See yous.